fallen wall can be inspiring. There's one in the middle of Seoul on Berlin Square. Berlin gave the city these 3 sections of the Berlin Wall, along with a sculpture of a bear that symbolizes Berlin. Consolation and encouragement for a country that still has reunification ahead of it. Ki Up-sung heard from a friend that there were pieces of the original Berlin Wall here. The 80-year-old has a bad case of homesickness. He takes a picture from his wallet and shows us his mother. He last saw her and his 2 younger brothers 60 years ago.
When I see the Berlin Wall, I think of how lucky the Germans are that it has fallen. My homeland is in North Korea. I haven't been able to visit since 1949. It's very sad.
Just outside of Washington, D.C., the CIA also has a few segments of the wall, even if they're not visible to the general public. But there are video recordings of it symbolically blocking one of the headquarters' rear entrances, just as the concrete barrier cut off almost all connections between East and West Berlin for decades. The graffiti "Tear down the wall" is a quote from former U.S. President Ronald Reagan. Other segments of the wall are on public view in Berlin museums. Former CIA European manager Tyler Drumheller says the unforeseen end of communist East Germany plunged a whole generation of spies into an identity crisis.
When the wall came down, it sort of ended with a whimper more than a bang. But they, looking for how they define themselves, since they define themselves so much by their main enemy, which had been the Soviet Union and East Germany, realizing then that they had to shift to counterterrorism, counterproliferation, which had already begun at that point. But there were some people it was very difficult for, and we had people who would always say, "Oh, I can go to Turingen for to visit Turingen, and I can see how democracy is developing." I said, "You don't have to see how democracy is developing in the East. It's developed. It's over. The war is over. We won."
Artist Jens Galschiot experienced the fall of the wall as a tremendous joy and an artistic challenge. He still has his few pieces of the wall in his garden on the Danish island of Funen.
It was terribly difficult to get the pieces. The mayor of East Berlin only gave 4 artists sections for free. Everyone else, like museums all over the world, had to pay lots of money for sections, from 40,000 to 90,000 marks. This is a fairly simple piece of the wall without the iconic graffiti.
At that time, Galschiot already had something of an international reputation as a sculptor. In June 1990, he set off for Berlin to get inspiration and pieces of the wall. He wanted to capture the spirit of new beginnings in a monument. He shows us a model of that envisioned monument. On the planned 25 by 8 meter surface, bisected torsos of people walk toward the wall. When they move through it, they become whole again. Jens Galschiot has a stack of friendly letters from supporters, even including Willy Brandt, but he never did put up the monument.
At some point, people in Berlin, whether east or west, didn't want to hear about the wall anymore. If you ask me, they would prefer to forget history.
Back in Seoul, Ki Up-sung tells us what the Berlin Wall there shows.
The West Germans painted one side of the wall with bright colors. The East Germans couldn't get close to it, so their side is empty. That shows how important freedom is. It's not such a bad idea to send parts of the wall all over the world.